Usually the turnaround from book to movie or TV series is not quite this quick, but this one was such a big hit on bookshelves last year that there was actually a bidding war, and Brie Larson won the auction for the rights to film this novel. And she stars in the show as well. Lessons in Chemistry on Apple TV Plus. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my TV review for Lessons in Chemistry. This is streaming a few episodes right now on Apple TV Plus. They always do the week-by-week episode model. So they premiered 2 episodes the first week, and I think there's 4 up as of now, but there's still a handful to go. It will wrap up the day after Thanksgiving, so still a few more weeks in this one. Yep, based on a very, very popular book from last year. Brie Larson snagged the rights to it, and she is one of the executive producers along with Jason Bateman. We know him, of course, and she stars in the show as well. So before we launch into the specifics there, let me welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video. We do movie and TV reviews here on the channel, and just about every day I try to post something new for you. So always a lot to check out. Please consider subscribing or like this video, share it on your socials, and comment below. All that stuff helps the channel out, of course, tremendously. All right, so Lessons in Chemistry is the name of the show and the book. And I admit, look, I'm not a science guy. Chemistry was one of my weaker subjects in high school for sure. So I was not clamoring for this show, but I really like Brie Larson. I was kind of unfamiliar with the book. I guess I had seen it, on shelves and stuff, but didn't really think much about it. Didn't know that it had this kind of subject matter to it. But essentially, Brie Larson plays this chemist called Elizabeth Zott, and she suffers, some horrible things in her doctorate program, so she decides to leave there and become a lab technician. And she, has some stumbling blocks there as well, but eventually makes her way in the early 60s to a cooking show on television called Supper Time at 6, or Supper at 6 rather, to educate housewives that are watching on scientific topics. So she uses that sort of science and the chemistry stuff that she knows to work her way, into that TV show. So it's really interesting, and it bounces back and forth between the TV show and the stuff that takes place in the, I guess, early to mid 50s as a lab technician. And there she meets her eventual beau, played by Lewis Pullman, and that is Bill Pullman's son. You may recognize him from Top Gun Maverick. I actually didn't, because he looked a bit different there. He was kind of the nerdy guy. They gave him the glasses in Top Gun, so he was a real nerd. But here I didn't quite recognize him until I saw his name. I was like, oh, okay. So that's, the basic premise of the show. Look, Apple TV Plus, is always about these strong women shows. They, they have the deal with Reese Witherspoon and her Hello Sunshine Productions to do things like the morning show. And this is not, part of that. This is not part of Hello Sunshine, but Apple TV, always sort of going with that, that strong female type show. And there's a lot out there that are not on Apple TV as well. We've seen, Minx, which was on, I forget what channel it was on originally, because now they've shuffled it to something else. I think it was at HBO originally. Amazon has had a couple as well. But Brie Larson is, for my money, one of the best actresses working today. I know she got a little bit of flack from Captain Marvel. I think that was more from people who did not want to see a female superhero and, misogynist and whatever. So take that or leave it. The movie itself was okay. We'll see how the follow-up does, the Marvels next week. But, I first took notice of her many, many years ago, this great independent movie called Short Term 12. And then, of course, she was in Room, which was amazing, and it won her an Oscar and all of this. But I think she tends to pick projects that are interesting to her. And you can tell with this performance. I didn't know until right before shooting this video that she had won the auction rights to the book. That's how excited she was, to portray this character. But she does it so remarkably well. In fact, one of my minor complaints about the show is she's maybe too polished. It's one of those where it's she always has the right, the right comeback for everything and the right answer for everything, and she's so put together, in the face of all of these different adversities. And while that can be certainly empowering, it's sometimes treading on a little bit unrealistic with that. But she just is so razor sharp as this character, Zot, and you just fall in love, with her. There is not quite my other sort of nitpick here. Is there's not enough of the cooking show as we move forward. The first episode had sort of a nice balance. Still a lot more into the 50s than the 60s cooking show, but we see clips of that show where we're sort of taking lessons that she's learned in her previous life as a lab tech or whatever, and sort of putting them into the cooking show. So we do see that sort of symmetry. But second episode was very, very minimal on the cooking show stuff, and I would have liked to see a little bit more of a back and forth between those two. And as we go on, I assume we're going to get more sort of into that realm. But thus far, it's mainly taking place in that 1950s era with her stuff with the lab tech and with her boyfriend and everything. And at first, of course, they hate each other, that classic. But look, this is a really sharp show. Another winner for Apple TV Plus in terms of something to think about. Obviously there's these, very heavy, themes of feminism and intelligent women and all of that, that are so welcome, in this day and age. But obviously there's still such a long way to go, as Brie Larson herself saw with sort of the Captain Marvel flashback. And we saw that with the Ghostbusters women flashback, or not flashback, but yeah, a few years ago. So there's still that pervasiveness. And so I love these shows coming out about these really strong female leads, especially when they're done well. They're not always done well, but when they are, it's a real home run. League of Their Own, was another one on Amazon Prime. They sort of adapted that from the movie a bit. But yeah, this is a winner. I don't know if we're going to get more seasons of this, or if this is marketed as a mini series. This is how the book was, this is where it's going to end. I don't know. We shall see as it continues, but for now there's a handful of episodes up, and the rest to be seen on a weekly basis. I leave Lessons in Chemistry with a B plus, and I would say look for Brie Larson to score a nomination at next year's Emmys for sure, for this performance. It's a real winner, and you can see this on Apple TV Plus. All right, thank you so much for watching Dan Reviews It, and we'll see you next time. Bye.